This is Ecotricity's ecoTEC Roundup show from Aotearoa's first and only climate-positive certified renewable electricity provider. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to EVs in Aotearoa. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup of news from the world of clean cars and green energy. Thanks for joining me. This week saw Polestar publish its official second quarter financial results. Released on Thursday, Polestar said it delivered 15,765 electric vehicles in the second quarter, up 36% year-on-year. It's the largest delivery figures yet, leading to record revenues of $685 million, up from $589 million last year. However, increased costs associated with EV production, namely increased semiconductor and battery costs, meant that Polestar's net loss for the second quarter sat at $304 million, far larger than its $9 million loss recorded in Q1. Despite this, Polestar says it's optimistic about future performance, with a new model just on the way. Polestar's profits might not be where it wants them to be, but that's not the case for BYD, which posted its quarterlies this week. In the second quarter, BYD says it delivered a record-breaking 730,000 new energy vehicles, that's electric vehicles and plug-in hybrids combined, a 98% year-on-year increase. Cashing in on the EV price war that's going on right now in China, BYD says its revenue was up by 67% to more than $21.4 billion equivalent, while its profits more than doubled for the quarter to $933 million equivalent. While the Chinese EV price war is hurting some Chinese brands, BYD has been able to pivot to offer more affordable models of existing cars without losing too much money. A few months after it was revealed for the European market, Mercedes-Benz has officially announced USA pricing for the 2024 model year eSprinter electric van. Aside from being the first time the eSprinter has been offered for sale in the US, the model, which will retail from $71,886 comes with a 113 kilowatt-hour LFP battery pack and can be specced with either a 100 or 150 kilowatt rear-wheel motor drivetrain. While it won't be winning any awards for speed, the eSprinter is going to be the longest-legged electric van on sale in North America, and it could be a really good candidate for electric camper vans thanks to its long wheelbase and high roofline. The majority of automakers today are working hard to convince everyone that they're very much behind the switch to electric vehicles after decades of opposing it. But, as the National Resources Defence Council detailed this week, comments made by automakers in response to new proposed US EPA emissions rules show that perhaps they may not be on board as much as we might like. The rules, which propose a requirement for 2032 emission levels to be 56% lower than 2026 levels, have received significant pushback from the majority of the auto industry, including General Motors and Stellantis. Only Ford submitted comments in support of the EPA's proposed rules, stating that it is on board with a roadmap in which 67% of new vehicles are electric. Following reporting from Reuters earlier this year on Tesla's tendency to over-exaggerate real-world range of their vehicles, the US Department of Justice has begun an investigation into the same. While details are thin at this point, and I should note all vehicles' real-world ranges may and do vary compared to their official ratings, what appears to be at the heart of this particular investigation is the well-documented phenomenon of Tesla vehicles displaying over-optimistic range predictions when their battery packs are more than 50% full, which then switches to a more realistic and achievable range rating when the battery pack is below 50%. This is supposedly thanks to an algorithm that Tesla allegedly engineered to create, quote, rosy in-dash estimates. Tesla has not yet issued a public statement regarding this DOJ investigation. After the usual period of teasing, Kia has officially unveiled the EV5 compact SUV, and it looks like a cross between its larger sibling, the EV9, and Ford's soon-to-launch all-electric Explorer. Officially unveiled at the Chengdu Motor Show in China last week, there's no official B-roll of the EV5 yet, just this photo montage, and we can expect more details as the car gets ready for a European and North America debut sometime next year. Given that it's not going to be that different in size to the Kia e-Niro, I have got to wonder if we're going to see the EV5 replace the e-Niro in Kia's lineup. But given that it will likely be more expensive than the e-Niro, I can live in the hope that both models will coexist for a while at least. That said, replacing the e-Niro with the EV5 will certainly make it easier for Kia, as then every one of its EVs would be eGMP based. For years, people have argued whether frequent fast charging is bad for EV batteries. That belief stems from the Nissan LEAF, whose battery pack did not have active liquid thermal management and therefore had a tendency to overheat when fast charged. Since then, empirical data from plenty of different sources backs the idea that fast charging can actually be good for EV battery packs, and now there's a new study of Tesla supercharging that agrees. Taking data from 12,500 Teslas it tracks through its software service, Recurrent shows that there's little to no difference in battery degradation between Teslas that frequently supercharge and those that don't. So go on, fast charge your EV, as long as it's not a Nissan LEAF. The US Department of Energy has announced a new funding program worth $15.5 billion that will help automakers retrofit their factories to build EVs. The funding, announced midweek, is bound to get some political heat as we move into the 2024 election cycle, but the announcement is going to have a pretty big impact on the global auto industry. The funding is split between low-interest loans as well as up to $2 billion in grants. At the same time, the DOE announced its intent to release a further $3.5 billion to help automakers expand domestic battery production facilities to make it cheaper and easier for companies to build electric cars in the US. How is this going to help the EV industry globally? Well, more factories means more EVs wherever they're made. We learned this week that the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration wrote to Tesla last month asking it to explain the so-called Elon Mode for its Tesla Autopilot software. While not officially called Elon Mode, the feature is designed to allow select people, believed to include Elon Musk, to drive Teslas in Autopilot full self-driving beta mode with the attention nag feature disengaged. As Ecotricity reported this week, it also appears the feature isn't just limited to Tesla engineers and executives and included some Tesla fans as well, and that, combined with the fact it ignores federal safety standards, has got NHTSA very concerned indeed. It's given Tesla until the start of this week to respond to a request for more information on the mode, and it's not clear if Tesla responded in time. Failure to do so, though, would have resulted in significant fines. It may have been the first true highway-capable, fast-charging, mass-produced electric car on the market in North America, but in recent years the Nissan LEAF has started to look quite long in the tooth. Aside from its use of the CHAdeMO fast charge standard, the LEAF still uses passively cooled battery packs, and despite its affordable price point, is starting to fall behind its competitors in terms of range and performance. This week, we learn that Nissan has already teased the LEAF's replacement to dealers at its annual dealer conference in Las Vegas, and based on reporting, the Leaf's replacement could be quite interesting. An anonymous source told Automotive News that the replacement to the Nissan LEAF will improve range by at least 25%, and it will look a little like a mini-me version of the Nissan Ariya. Before we get to the last two stories, I have a quick question. Are you in the market for a new electric car? Because if you are, and you are in Aotearoa, you should totally check out our very own buyer's guide at ecotricity.co.nz. It is packed with all the information you need to pick a car that's right for you and includes plenty of details about incentives you can get, charging providers you can use, and of course how to get clean, climate positive, zero emission energy at home. So follow the link below and start that journey today. There's something of a trend in the automotive industry that sees iconic nameplates and brands getting reborn as all-electric models. And this week, Italian brand Alfa Romeo became the latest company to do that, bringing back the legendary Stradale name for an all-electric sports car. It's an eye-catching supercar with gull-wing doors and a super lightweight construction that will be offered with a choice of all-electric or twin-turbo V6 drivetrain. Before you get too excited, however, it's probably worth noting that Alfa Romeo has already sold out of each of the 33 limited production cars it plans to make, and each costs a cool $2.1 million. So it's very much a doubt that anyone watching could actually afford to buy one. I know I couldn't. And finally, we are very big fans of electric micromobility solutions on this channel. From electric unicycles and e-bikes to e-scooters, they are the perfect low-carbon way to get around big cities without big cars. But if you're heading to Paris for a quick autumnal getaway, you might notice that all of Paris's rental scooters have suddenly disappeared. That's because of a controversial referendum that took place this spring that led to the city banning all rental e-scooters, but not privately owned ones. How was it controversial? Well, while the results of the referendum overwhelmingly supported the banning of e-scooters, with 89% of the vote in favour, only 7.5% of registered voters in Paris actually turned out for the referendum, meaning that the majority of Parisians just didn't vote. If that isn't a lesson in the importance of the civic act of voting, I don't know what is. And on that note, we are done for the day. Before I go, though, do make sure you've hit that notification bell below so you don't miss out in the latest in EV news from this channel. And if you haven't, it's high time you switched to Aotearoa's first and only climate positive certified renewable electricity provider. It is super easy to make the switch, and in doing so, you'll help the nation wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. Next week, I'm going to be in Canada for Fully Charged Live, so there won't be a usual studio news roundup. So that said, myself and some of my friends are going to try and record something live at the show, so watch this space. And I will be back the following week with the regular news roundup show as usual. In the meantime, don't forget to check out the latest videos from Gavin, Kiwi EV Shoebridge, right here. He's been busy driving the Kia EV6 long range to see how far it can travel in cold weather, so be sure to check it out and pack your warm socks. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite! See you next time.